pro player 4-3-3 4th variant custom tactics and play instructions is top 200. So let's get straight into it. It's quite an attacking formation, as you can see by the shapes. The more attacking version of the 4-3-3. If I actually quickly go back for a second, you can see we've got the so obviously three midfielders. You've got the 2 centre mids and the cam. Default 4-3-3 down here. Just quite a flat midfield with 3 centre mids. You've got the CDM's version, some more defensive versions here, and then the 4, which is the more attacking version, and also the 5. Let's not talk about that for now. Anyway, for defensive style, we're going to be sticking with balance. Using a press can work well, but I think it works better on more narrow formations. On this formation, it doesn't seem to work too well because the midfield just doesn't really seem suited to a press. Presses work well on formations like the 4-2-2, where you sort of got that narrower shape. But the 4-3-3-4, I recommend sticking with balance. For the width, we're going to 40 just to bring it in narrower when you're defending, making it harder for the opposition to break you down through the centre. And then 60 depth, playing a nice high line, so when we win the ball back, we're in position high up the pitch, and we're not sitting back and then our opposition have all of the ball. For the build-up play, I recommend fast build-up. Is to play it up quickly, quite self-explanatory. Get the ball quickly up to your attackers and your strikers. Pass it around that midfield triangle. You can see with your centre mids here, you've got your 2 centre mids and your cam linking up in a perfect triangle, which is really important in this formation when you're on the ball, in order to try and wait for your striker to make a good run. The chance creation, we're going to be using direct passing to get it up to our strikers and our left wing and right wing quite quickly. I do tend to use forward runs a lot on this on FIFA this year, but direct passing can work well as well. I never really stick with balanced possession. I haven't even been there. It's just don't use it. That's all I can say. Forward runs and direct passing work well. We're using direct passing today. Width on 50 because there's no need to push it out too wide. Your wingers are already quite wide as it is. You don't want them too far up against the touchline because they'll be almost out of the game. But you don't want them too narrow as well. You want them to keep their width, and keeping the shape is a good way to play on this formation. Plays in box on 6 to push your players forward a little bit more than default, getting more plays into the opposition box, overloading the box when you're attacking. Corners on 2 and free kicks on 2. For your player instructions, your striker stay central, so he's staying in the centre of the pitch in line with the goal and not drifting out wide. Getting behind, making forward runs behind the opposition defenders, and stay forward, so he's always at the top of the pitch, not coming back when defending, so when you win the ball back, especially fast build up, he's always going to be up there when you need him. For your left wing and your right wing, for these, it's a bit different this time. We're going to basic defence support because there's quite a big gap between your fullbacks and your wingers, and we're going to be using steer up goal tackle on our fullbacks, so you really want those wingers to be sort of filling in that gap slightly. We're going to be using stay wide there, right up against the touchline. I know you obviously don't want to play the actual width too wide because that can sort of push them too far out of the game, but you still want them to be staying wide instead of cutting inside. If they want balanced width, then they will sometimes cut inside, and you really don't want them to be cutting inside. You want to do that more manually, and cutting inside to sort of change the shape of the formation. You want those wide players out there, getting behind, making forward runs behind the opposition defenders, and get into the box across, once again making sure they're always overloading the box when needed. For your cam, stay forward, helping out the striker, and also get into the box across, once again to make sure you're overloading the box. Quite simple. For your 2 centre mids, for these players, I recommend leaving them default. You want cover centre run to make sure on both of them, and then for the rest, I recommend default. You can even go stay back while attacking if you want, to make sure they're staying in the centre position and not pushing up when attacking. For support on crosses, if you want them to get into the box, you can. Some people prefer it on stay on edge of box across for these players. Otherwise, you can have too many players forward. Personally, I just leave them all default. For your centre backs, I recommend stay back while attacking, non-receptions and sticks to position, so exactly default. Never change your centre backs; it really does mess stuff up. For your full backs, I recommend balanced attack. Stay back while attacking, like I said earlier. Overlaps, they're making overlapping runs on the outside, and that is it for your fullbacks. Overlapping runs is obviously not really necessary, but I still have it on anyway. If you want them pushing forward, you can do. Sorry, I just realised my microphone's been really far away from me this whole time. Hopefully that's a bit better. If you couldn't hear me before, I apologise for that. Hopefully you can still hear me a bit. Stay back while attacking, and then overlap on as well. If you want your fullbacks pushing forward, like I said, to overlap on your wingers, then go with balanced attack. But personally, I think on this formation, it's better to keep them back. And then for your goalkeeper, comes to crosses, so your keeper's coming off his line more to defend corners and crosses, and sweeper keeper being more aggressive, coming outside his box and challenging the opponent for loose balls and through balls. So that's everything for today's video really. So that's the 4-3-3 4th variant pro player custom tactics and instructions. Sorry about the mic being far away. Somehow completely forgot that it wasn't even up. You can obviously hear me now better. If you couldn't hear me at the start, just let me know in the comments. I'll just re-upload the video, do the same thing again if you really couldn't hear me properly. But you can see everything you needed anyway. So if you couldn't hear me, just sort of look at the tactics page and copy that down. Go through the instructions and you can see what you need anyway. But that's everything for today's video. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Enjoy using this formation, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.